I knew that I wanted to try and do a limited pack build, and so I decided to let a randomizer tell me which packs to use. And we were assigned high school years and eco lifestyle, which aren't normally packs that I would pair together. I feel like their build styles are kind of opposite from each other, and that's exactly why I wanted to do this. I think having that kind of challenge is what makes it fun. This is kind of a spoiler, but I built it here on this lot in Evergreen Harbor. This is where Bess normally lives, but I got rid of her. You probably know Bess because she's the one that calls you and asks you for $1,000 repeatedly. So my plan was to use those metal wallpapers from Eco Lifestyle and try to make a sort of container style home, kind of like a bunch of shipping containers that have been stacked together and assembled into a fancy modern house. But let's just jump straight into the speed build so I can kind of walk you through what I built and how I did it, starting with some diagonal walls, which is kind of an unhinged first thing to put down on the lot. But hear me out, okay? My concept was that I wanted to have some kind of like shed or like garage or something in the back of the lot to use for skill building, because this pack comes with so many crafty things. There's like candle making and juice making. You can fabricate stuff. I kind of wanted to have a woodworking table and an easel, and so I wanted to have almost like a workshop in the backspace. And to make the lot more interesting, I put that workshop area on a diagonal, and then the rest of the structure is the main house. There's gonna be bedrooms and things in that space. I also made the structure kind of weird. I'm gonna be honest, I was sort of trying to make this place a little bit weird. Like I was trying to use things I don't normally use. I was trying to use colors I don't normally go for. I wanted to use this as an opportunity to like branch out and experiment a little bit. And so there's actually 2 separate upstairs on this structure. I kind of wanted it to look like there was 5 containers stacked together, all different colors. And so there's 2 on the left, 2 on the right, and then 1 that connects them. But to get upstairs, you have to walk up 2 separate staircases. I think I might have used a ladder for one of them, but there's definitely a staircase on at least half of it. And it's like 2 separate access points basically. And I also put a pretty cool glass roof segment in the middle. I was really excited about this. I think it's kind of an interesting shaped skylight, and I kind of wanted it to look like a structure. So I made it a little bit taller. It's kind of like a triangle. I also went back and forth a lot with the other colors that I was trying to add in, because I wanted to use black as the main accent color on this build because it would match the skylight and stuff like that. I don't know. I just don't like to use black in my builds very much. I don't really like dark colors that much. And so I was like second guessing myself so much as I was trying to do this, but it does eventually come together. It took some trial and error with the floor plan and like with the color scheme, but that's normal. That's just sort of how things go for me. All these builds are usually like a trust the process kind of situation. And I am a little bit ashamed to admit that I actually built this in April of last year. Never posted it on YouTube, but I found it today and I was like, this is kind of fun. I kind of want to post this build. So it's like a long lost speed build. I have a whole bunch of things that are kind of like in the archives that I just didn't post because they were like old at that point, but I think I should go through and find more of them because this is kind of cool, and I would have just never posted it if I hadn't gone digging today. The furniture that you're seeing right now, don't worry, the furniture you're seeing right now is sort of just like filler. I was putting it in there so I could kind of visualize if stuff fit, like if it would work as a floor plan. We'll change the stuff out and like put nicer furniture in later. I just feel like it helps me to like put down a couch, put down a table, put some counters in, and just kind of see if things fit. And then I go back and put a nicer couch and a nicer table because I might want to change the floor plan as I'm doing this. So I don't really want to like fully decorate now. I kind of want to like start laying stuff out and then still give myself room to change stuff if I want to like adjust the floor plan significantly. I don't have to like redo the furniture, you know? But anyway, as you can see, it's got 4 bedrooms and an office inside of this house, plus the art studio space in the back. We're gonna end up adding a pool back here. There's gonna be like an outdoor seating grill area. But this was just me trying to think about how I wanted the front of this container space and the back to be shaped. It's kind of weird. I was having some issues with like weird clipping and like the roof texture was messed up. So I was getting kind of frustrated trying to deal with that. I hate when that happens. I don't know if you've seen it before, but like sometimes there's issues with the roofs having like a gap almost. There's like a gap in the roof trim. I think it happens when certain things and certain angles are like put up against each other, but just there's like a hole in the middle of the roof trim sometimes. So I was getting very annoyed about that here. Also, for a second, I was thinking about using a round pool. I think that was a bad idea. Everything else in this entire build is rectangles. Why are there rounded edges? I changed that, don't worry. I'll put it back to be straight later. We also have a couple interesting balconies. There's like a grassy rooftop rooftop on one of them that you can access, and you can like climb up the trellis to get to it. So I was trying to take advantage of as much space as I could around the exterior of the building. It's kind of fun with this kind of shape because I feel like I get to be a little bit more creative about the space that I'm using. In some ways, it's a very simple build. It's just like a couple of rectangles, but also because it's that simple and it's like funky, maybe simple isn't the right word then. I don't know. I feel like we've got room to do some interesting stuff with it. So, okay, now at this point, we're starting to get somewhere. I decided to start putting like a glass roof space on top of the back as well. And I think that really helped. I was really unsure of what to do about the shed container in the back, but I think having some kind of like skylight thing made a huge difference. It like looks 10 times better. Oh, and this is me starting to add in more of that black accent color. One of the things that tripped me up is that there aren't really a lot of nice glass fences. The base game has one, but it doesn't really come in a true black. It has like gray in it basically. And then there aren't any from Eco Lifestyle. I don't have any other packs installed today. Obviously, you know, high school years doesn't have anything like that. So I wanted to have a balcony. I couldn't really make it work, so I ended up getting rid of it and just putting like some plants on the roof right there. So really the only actual balcony is the one that we have up on the top of the building. But I think that's okay. And maybe balcony is the wrong word. It's a rooftop, I suppose. But I think that was interesting. So anyway, as I'm starting to work a little bit more on the landscaping and like the backyard layout and stuff, I feel like now is probably a good time for a slight life update because I tend to use these speed builds sort of like that, like a podcast. And I've got a lot going on right now. So I haven't really talked about this too much on the internet yet, but I recently started seeing an OCD specialist to help get treatment for my OCD, and I'm gonna start doing exposure therapy. Truthfully, I have been in a really bad spot mentally for the past few months. It's been a hard year, I think, and that's definitely contributing to it, but my mental health has not really ever been this bad before, and so I'm taking a lot of steps to try and fix it. I've only recently started the OCD treatment, so obviously we're pretty early days in this, but I'm hoping that things will start to get better soon. To like put it bluntly, I feel like my OCD is ruining my life right now, which is like much worse than it's ever been before. So I know I'm like giggling while I say that. That sounds so silly to be like, it's ruining my life with a big smile on my face, but anyway, I just feel awkward talking about it, but I think it's important too. So that's like my biggest personal life update. I've also kind of been going through some health stuff with my cat. A lot of you probably know about this, but I've got an elderly cat with like kidney disease and cancer. She's like, everything bad is happening to her. Thankfully, the weird lump on her side has like really started to heal up. It's not bothering her as much anymore. She's not like touching it or anything. So that's a positive. But we got some kind of bad lab work back today, literally like a couple hours ago. Her kidney disease has progressed pretty significantly since we last checked her labs. So we're gonna start some extra medications. I'm gonna start doing her IV more often. She's doing her IV at home twice a week, but we're gonna start doing it every other day instead. So it's just, yeah, that's been weighing on me a lot. I hate to like share updates like that with you all because I know it really sucks, but I wanna keep you posted because I get a lot of questions about Snap and stuff. I think she's, in the grand scheme of things, doing okay. Like, she seems happy. She doesn't seem like she's gotten that much sicker. She's definitely slowing down a little bit, but I don't think she's like in a really bad spot. Like, I think she's still happy and like she still plays and is, you know, doing okay at home aside from, you know, this stuff. So we're just trying to like manage symptoms and everything and help to like keep her comfortable and make her happy. So I'm sorry to share bad news, but let's talk about some positive things. I like to try and put positives in my videos lately as well because I'm trying to like counteract it a little bit. I've read a couple good books lately. I just finally read Project Hail Mary. I was putting that off for so long because I'm really scared of space, even though I knew that I would like that book because everybody loves that book. Like, it's so well loved and so positively spoken of, but I put it off for a long time. Finally read it, loved it, great book. The movie is coming out very soon, so if you're thinking about reading the book, it might be worth doing it now. I also just read a book called The Astral Library that I liked a lot. It's like a magic library and it can transport you into your favorite books. So you could like go and visit Pride and Prejudice and like exist in the world. It's kind of neat. If you're like a book fan, you would probably really enjoy reading that one. And my sourdough journey has been going very well. My starter is still alive and well. I've made a bunch of sourdough bread. I've been making pretzel bites a few times. I have really enjoyed my sourdough. So I posted like some videos about well, the video wasn't about the sourdough, but I mentioned it in the video where I was talking about starting to make a sourdough starter. And now I guess I've got a positive update that it's working and I've been using it. So anyway, those are some positive things in my life right now. If you've got any good news you'd like to to share, or like maybe a thing that you enjoyed recently. It could be a book, it could be a movie, it could be a recipe, I don't know. Let us know in the comments. I think that we could all do with some sharing of positivity right now. At least I could, because I'm not in a good place. But anyway, we are finally starting to work on the interior of the house right now. So I wanted to talk a little bit about like the kitchen layout and stuff. This is kind of a different layout for me. I feel like because the kitchen's a little bit small, and it's also got like this, like, I don't know, side to it where I have like a microwave nook and stuff. I was gonna say new, it's not new at this point, I guess it's been like a year, but I used the new swatches of the base game counters because it's kind of got this like gray tone with a wood countertop. So I used those in here. It matches the yellowy, orangey tone of the wood from this pack really well. And then I based pretty much the entire color scheme around that rug. That is a high school year's rug. It's the only swatch of its kind. That's the rug that usually has like the stripy colors. I think the default swatch is like a minty blue. It kind of has like lines on it, if you know what I'm talking about. But it also has that cute swatch. It's black with like little florals. And so I wanted to use that as kind of the inspo because I want to have an excuse to use the cute rug. And it kind of matches. It's colorful, but it's also got some nice dark colors. So I used like orange chairs to pull from the orange flowers. We have like some minty curtains. There's that base game painting that's like minty and orange at the same time, which totally matches. So it was kind of fun trying to use that as like the starting point and then pulling stuff from it. We've got this really nice TV on the back wall and like a little TV stand underneath it. I started trying to get some nice wallpaper accents. I have like this wood tone that I was trying. I was using some tile. We have like some brick colors and stuff. I'm not sure if I like this that much, but I think that it works. I think it matches the color scheme. I really wish that we had more painted bricks in this game. I think the base game could use another swatch update for a lot of reasons, but one of the ones I want is like another update to that brick wallpaper, or like a couple more so we can get just like a million colors of brick. I think it would be nice to have like a bunch of pastels, a bunch of vibrant colors, a bunch of like neutrals. You know, I just want to have a lot more shades of a painted brick because it's nice to use as an accent wall, but it doesn't have very many colors. I think that wallpaper has like 7 or 8 swatches, which is fine, but I could use like 10 times that many probably. So I also cut this out, but I did decorate the bathrooms. I'll have to show you that in the tour at the end. Sometimes when builds are long like this, I'll cut out things like the hallway or a bathroom or two just for the sake of time. But there are a couple bathrooms in this house. There's one big one downstairs by the front door, and there's a tiny like 3x1 half bathroom next to the dining table. And I think that there's a primary bathroom attached to one of the bedrooms, but I can't remember, and we're gonna have to find out together once we get up there. I did like this little trick. I used some cabinetry and I put it underneath the stairs, and then I raised up some objects to put on top of it. There's like some little paintings leaning up against the wall. I also put a little plant right there, and I love the color on those too. That's another thing that I would love to have more swatches of, because that painting, I think there's only 4 swatches of it, and all of them have different prints, which is super cool, but it'd be fun to have even more, because I feel like a lot of times with the base game artwork, I've kind of used all of it now, like a million times. So it would be fun to have some new variants just to like switch things up a little bit and have some more options, especially because art like that that's so big, it kind of like dictates the space. Like I want to be able to decorate the house around the art, and I just don't really have a lot of options for it. But this room over here is the office. I use the base game bookshelves on the back wall. I don't use those very much either because they also lack swatches. I think it only has 3 swatches for some reason. They did a huge swatch update to a bunch of base game items that are from that set and added more colors to it, but they did not add colors to that bookshelf. So we're stuck with just the 3. I like that light color though. It kind of matches in here, so I used it. I think the room just has the bookshelves and then a computer inside. I'm taking a little bit of a detour to put some meat walls in because I was live streaming this build, and whenever I'm talking about eco lifestyle, the meat wall always comes up. It's like the #1 thing people want me to add into my Sims houses. So of course we have the meat wall. If you haven't seen that before, it's just the vertical wall planter from Eco Lifestyle. But if you get, I think it's a high enough level in the career, maybe, you get the ability to grow meat. And so it's like vertically growing meat, and in game, the Sims think it's actually meat. Like a vegetarian could eat it and then feel sick because it was meat. But I have 2 meat walls, so the place is pretty self-sufficient. This next room is supposed to be one of the teens' rooms. I was picturing this being a family that had a couple of teenagers because of the high school years inclusion. And I based this whole room around the egg rug because I don't use that rug very much either. And I thought it was kind of cute in here. I liked it with the yellow and blue bed. I have a desk and a laptop and like some posters. I think this is a really cute color scheme. I don't really like eggs, but I like the look of it in here. So I kept that. I don't really use that bed very much either, to be honest. So it was kind of fun to have a place to put it. I need to be better about using the high school years rugs more because I really don't use them that often. And I feel like that's sort of a missed opportunity because there's some really good swatches of them and they're kind of fun. Like it's kind of funky and interesting. So we've got that here. I have some yellow curtains. I put up some fairy lights. I was putting in like a fancy mirror. I don't use that glowy mirror very much either. I think because it's pretty vibrant, it doesn't fit in a lot of my houses, but it looks really good in this room. So I used it in that downstairs bedroom. And then upstairs on one of the sides, there are 2 more bedrooms. I think they're both teenagers' bedrooms, but I can't remember what the third one looks like. So we're gonna find out together. This one I based entirely around that pride flag. That's the asexual pride flag. And so I used a lot of like purple and black and gray in here because it matched that high school year's bed so well. So I did that. I have like some nice high school year's dresser and nightstand. There's a purple accent wall. I have some black curtains. And then those are just base game curtains, but I put a base game shelf above it to kind of look like a curtain rod that goes across the whole thing. I don't know how successful that was, but I tried. That is kind of annoying at times too, because your Sims can leave stuff up there. Like they'll probably put the clay up there or like a plate or something, but I think it's okay. I think it's worth it just for like the look of it. I was trying hard to figure out what to put in this corner. I was thinking about an easel. I was thinking about like music. I thought about putting a bookshelf. In the end, I put this little cart, kind of like I thought of it as being like a craft cart, but I think it just has books on it. It's from high school years. And then I have a little ottoman and a guitar. So this Sim is supposed to be kind of into music in this room. This bed is also one that I just really don't use very often. I find that like sometimes the beds from high school years are a little bit too patterned. So I don't always use them all the time, but it looks really good in here. It's like a really nice decorated room. And so I think I want to try and use that one more often. I put a black rug. That is the rug I was telling you about. It looks like that as the default swatch, but it also has that floral one that I use downstairs. And then lastly, I'm seeing a double bed, so it must be a teen's room again. This one I think is a lesbian room. I think I use a lesbian pride flag everywhere. I based the color scheme around that. We've got the other high school year's bed in here, so I managed to use all 3 of them in this space. This is a kind of smaller room, but oh, I love that egg chair. Oh my goodness, that's neat. Yeah, I don't think it matters that it's that small because I feel like it still fits everything you need and it looks cute. So I use the same rug again, but in a peachier swatch. We have like a little bit of furniture on display. I think with that, I was trying to consider maybe making it look like a vanity table and putting an ottoman underneath the console table, but it was clipping, so I didn't use that. I did put a TV though, it looks like, and we've got a cute lamp. We have like some posters and some record players and stuff. I put a video game console. That's nice. Playing video games in bed, having a TV in front of you, that's a good idea. I guess I could do that. I have a Switch. Like I could plug that in anywhere really easily, but I don't do that enough. I should play Animal Crossing in bed more often. I think one of the only times that I remember playing Animal Crossing in bed is when I got my wisdom teeth taken out. And I remember trying to make a rock garden, like all day. I was laying in bed. I felt so weird because I had like just woken up from anesthesia and I was trying to make a rock garden in Animal Crossing. And if you haven't done that before, you literally have to fill the entire island except for where you want the rocks to spawn. Like you have to cover every other square inch of your island and then wait for the rocks to spawn in the right place and then take everything else away again. So it's a neat activity for when you're sick, but also really painful. It's really, really a miserable experience trying to do. If you do it later on in your island progression and you've got stuff around the island already, it is a little bit easier because it's already kind of full, but anyway, this is the last bedroom. This is the primary bedroom. They do not have an ensuite bathroom, but the whole upstairs on this side belongs to them, I remember now. So there is like a primary bedroom and then a bathroom across the hall. But since nobody else really comes up here on this side, I feel like it kind of feels like an ensuite in some ways. I used this kind of like minty color scheme and the eco lifestyle bed. I was putting some yellow accents because it's got that like little yellow pillow in the middle. So I have yellow curtains. I put a yellow mirror. I put like some sunflowers in there. And then this last room that we're gonna furnish is going to be that like craft space. So this is me trying to figure out how to lay out all of these giant machines in a way that makes sense. I feel like to a certain extent, there's just no way to make this stuff look good. Like, they're so ugly and they're so big. Like, what are you even supposed to do about this? The recycling machine is neon colors and like rusty looking. I had to put a dumpster so that you could get bits and pieces to recycle. Like, no one wants to see a dumpster, but I kind of hid them in this little back corner back here. I tried my best to make that look like it made sense, and I think it looks okay. It also kind of blends in with the red, so hopefully that helps too. Oh, I put mosquitoes back there? Why did I do that? Sometimes I look at my own choices. I don't remember doing that. That's funny that I did that. Anyway, there's bugs back there as well. I put like a bike. We're gonna get some planter boxes so there can be a little bit more landscaping in the front. This was me stalling, working on the shed because I was confused about how to lay them out. So I was just trying to not lay them out. There's a close-up of the meat wall if you wanted to see that. Lovely. And then also in the backyard, I have like a grill. I put a dining table outside so you can eat out here and like cook outside and stuff too. I think I tried to put in some lounge chairs. I hope they fit. I hope I keep them. Yeah, it's a little bit tight, but they do end up working. It's funny to talk about stuff like this in builds sometimes because like, what do you mean I can't remember what my own build looks like? I'm like, I hope I kept those chairs. But even when I build stuff more recent, like sometimes I forget what I have done in my own build. And like I could have built this last week and been like, now why did I delete that thing? I thought it looked good. Because when you look at it with fresh eyes, it like, I don't know, stuff looks different. You've got different opinions about it. The choice that I would make today, I might not have made last week or you know, last April, like when I built this. It looks like I moved the meat wall and also a couple of other vertical planters over to the side, so there's a little bit more space for them. There's not a ton of room back here. I'm like kind of overdoing it with furniture in the back. I kind of wish that I wasn't. I was trying to use like other fences and stuff too, but I think that's not worth it. So what we end up doing now is just putting a couple of trellises and then reworking the pool a million times, painting the pool, putting lights in the pool, and pretty soon we are finally gonna go and work a little bit more on the interior of that shed. I have rearranged this dining table so much. I really was not sure what I wanted, huh? I basically kept making the pool bigger and smaller. I wanted it to be large. I think I wanted it to be the same size as the container in the back, and I didn't like it when it was small, but looking at it right now, it wasn't that big of a deal. Like if the pool was smaller than the container, I think it would have been okay. But that's why I was overreacting so much. I was just worried about it looking weird. Anyway, this is us doing the interior. So I'm trying to lay stuff out a little bit better. I have like the candle maker and the woodworking table back to back. I got some kind of interesting wall decor. I put tile on all the walls. Oh, I used a clothing rack and I swapped that back out in the bedroom. That was smart. Okay, so there's a clothing rack in the bedroom now instead of an ottoman. We also have the juice fizzing station. That one was really hard for me to fit in here. It's very big and kind of an L shape. I thought about trying to put like maybe some workout equipment. I eventually ended up adding in a really tiny bathroom. It's a 1x1, which is really small, but because it's on a diagonal, the diagonal 1x1 is bigger than a regular 1x1. So I have a half bath in there with a toilet and a sink. It is functional. I tested it, don't worry. And I think in hindsight, that was the right call, because if you're like me and your plan is to make your Sims just stand in there and do skill building for like hours and hours on end, it's nice to have a toilet very close by so they can fix their needs more easily. But anyway, we are finally done with the speed build now. So I want to go back into the game and give you a tour of the finished product. If you are looking for this on the gallery, it's called the Colorful Container Home. It's a 30x20 lot, and you can hopefully filter a little bit more easily to find it without information. The gallery is very difficult to search on these days, so I am sorry, and hopefully you can manage to find it. And again, I built it over here on this 30x20 lot in Evergreen Harbor. So this is what the finished product looks like. I think when it's in the sun and everything is so vibrant, I think it looks so cool. But here's kind of like a overview of the exterior. It looks like I added a couple of things in after I stopped recording. We'll start in the backyard. I've got some worms so you can put bugs in this insect farm. There's a telescope so your Sims can die. I put a football as well. We've got the grill, we have the pool. This is all the garden stuff. These are the meat walls, and I also planted some plants inside of the vertical planters as well. These are mostly just soy because I want you to have enough soy wax to make candles. So I put all the soy here. There's some lounge chairs. I love this little tray. I need to use that more. This is from Eco Lifestyle. And then we have the dining table as well. If you want, you can climb up this trellis and get onto the roof. I put some more plants up here, so there's kind of like a pretty extensive garden on the roof as well. I also have on this side some solar panels and also a wind turbine, so you can get your power generated here. In the way back, this is what the place ends up looking like in like this storage room, craft room thing. We have the juice fizzing station. There's like an art corner. We have the woodworking table, the candle making. This is for fabrication. This is actually a cheer mat. It's from high school years, but I used it like a rug. And then if you wanted to, you could cheer on it and you could like skill build there. There's a bathroom. And then in the back also, we have the dumpster and the recycling machine, of course, and bugs. There are also bugs. Oh my gosh. And the half wall's not covered. Doesn't have trim. That's so embarrassing. Anyway, inside the house, the front door is over here on the side. There's like a little mailbox next to it. Here's kind of a top-down overview of the ground floor. When you first walk in, there's like a little entryway space. We have plants and like a coat rack. There's a bathroom downstairs with a bathtub in it. And then off on this side, we have the living room area. There's like some cute storage shelves for decor underneath the stairs. We have a nice big dining table. There's a little tiny half bathroom next to it, and I put like some cute things on the shelves in this bathroom too to make it look a little bit nicer. And then we have the kitchen right here. We've got a kitchen island and like some nice cabinetry. Over this way is the office. Very simple room, but hopefully nice and functional. Love the rug. Never use that rug. It's all the same one, the egg, the cat, but like there's a lot of these swatches that I haven't ever done before, so we should probably try and use that more often. And then across the hall, we have a burglar alarm and the first teenager's bedroom. This is like the egg themed teenager's bedroom. If you go up this staircase, this is the half that's like the primary bedroom suite. They've got a nice little hallway for themselves. They have their bedroom up here. I used that rug again. I don't really know how I feel about this one sized up. Most of the other swatches look okay. This is the normal size of that rug, and I think when you size it up, the tassels get a little bit too big. It's like kind of silly how big they are. But I wanted to try it, like for the sake of the video, so I used it in here. I also think that this looks really nice with it because it's got like the little blue accent. This is from Eco Lifestyle and this is high school years, but somehow it all matches. Across the hall, they have their little bathroom. It's got a shower tub combo, a toilet, a sink, you know. Probably too big of a window for a bathroom like this. It's like right in the front of the house. Everybody's gonna see you showering, but there are curtains, so you can cover it. And then on this half, up this staircase, not a ladder, a staircase, there are two more bedrooms. They've got this purple teens bedroom. This is the coat rack that I changed it to. And then over on this side, we have this teens bedroom. And I feel really good about the teens bedrooms. I'm not super obsessed with this one, but I love the other three bedrooms. So hopefully you like them too. And hopefully you enjoyed this video. I feel like when I do speed builds, they are so all over the place. I like jump between the worst news ever, and then I'm like, but anyway, here's the kitchen. Here's my Sims toilet. But I've been doing it this way for a long time, so we might as well just keep going, I guess. But have a fantastic rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Share some good news in the comments down below, and I'm gonna catch you all tomorrow, okay? Bye, everybody. I really like the pink section, the like pink swatch of the middle container. I think it looks so cool with the roof and like the color. I don't know. I like that part.